Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see the summary of Gitanjali, Song 35, Where the Mind is Without Fear by Rabindranath Tagore. Tagore was born on 6th May in 1861. His most famous work is Gitanjali, and it is for Gitanjali he won the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1913. Later in 1915, he was knighted, but he rejected it to show his opposition to the British rule in India. This, Where the Mind is Without Fear, was composed by him originally in Bengali under the title Pratana. This poem appeared in the volume called Naivedya in 1901. Later, Tagore translated this poem in English in 1911, and this appears as the 35th poem in his award-winning anthology Gitanjali. Later, it was published by the Indian Society, London in 1912. Gitanjali is a collection of devotional songs. In Where the Mind is Without Fear, Tagore reveals his patriotism. He visualizes a religious atmosphere with God Himself leading people into ever-widening realms of thought and action. Tagore lays an emphasis not on just the freedom from British society, but on freedom from fear, intellectual restraint, blind habits, narrow domestic barriers, aesthetic thinking, etc. He visualizes an ideal country where his people can live without fear. And when they are without fear, they will live with self-respect, holding their heads high. Generally, fear will stop your growth. But the people in the ideal country will not be afraid of anything. Therefore, there is nothing to stop them from their growth. At the same time, he says that there should not be any impediments when one wants to pursue knowledge. Here he means that education must be given to all, irrespective of their caste, creed, whether they are rich or poor, or any religious barriers or political barriers. And he says this because the rise of the parochial tendencies had resulted in religious, economic, and political divisions in India. Therefore, Tagore wants a united world, and he hates hypocrisy and laziness. He wants his people to speak the truth and to work continuously until they reach perfection. He did not like these outdated customs and habits because it will defeat one's constructive efforts, just like how a stream gets struck by the desert sand and prevented from reaching cultivable soil. Because if we pour water in a desert sand, we can find the water disappearing immediately. In the same way, when people are surrounded by all these barriers, he says whatever efforts are put in by the people, it will disappear like the water which is poured in the desert soil. It will not be able to reach its real target, which is, here he says, cultivable soil. And he says that in this ideal country, people should shed old notions and fashions, and they should be guided only by clear reason, and they should also keep themselves abreast of modern trends. And he believes that God only leads man. And therefore, he says this ideal country should be marked by the devout feeling that it is God who leads man forward into ever-widening thought and action. Tagore condemns man's modern drifting from God and thinking that human saviors are enough to do whatever they want. And Tagore warns against smug self-complacency. He says people should not be happy with their own achievements because he feels that it is God who had led them to that achievement. And at the same time, he says one should not be content with what one has achieved because God will continuously be unfolding limitless avenues to man, and man must be prepared to receive all that gift from God. And this poem was written during the freedom struggle. And Tagore defines freedom not simply as freedom from the British, but as freedom from fear, narrow-mindedness, superstition, atheism, smugness, etc., and wishes India to enjoy such freedom. Now let's read the poem and see what he says. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action. Into that heaven of freedom, my father, let my country awake. Tagore ends the poem here. If you have anything more to add on to what I've said, please write it in the comment box. Like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe. Thank you.